Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'll be showing you how to create this amazing Airbnb-inspired mobile application using Figma. So if this is your first time seeing this channel, I would like you to subscribe so that you can always get premium content like this for free. And lastly, don't go anywhere, keep watching. Let's quickly start by bringing in our frame. So for this tutorial, we're going to be using the iPhone 13 mini. Let's quickly rename this to Onboarding. And then let's bring in our layout grid. 4 counts, which is the standard for mobile. 20, that's our margin is 20, then our gutter is 16. So now the next thing we're going to do is bring in our color styles. Let's set up our primary color. So our primary color is D7 4B00. Then text. Our text is 212121. Then gray text. That's 717171. Then the next will be for our indicators. We're going to use D9 for that, D9. Then we're going to use, we're going to bring in our features, color style. So for the features buttons, we're going to use F5, F5, F5. Then lastly, we're going to create one for our outlines. So after doing that, the next thing is to go over to Asset and bring in our status bar. So I think I've already searched that before. So as usual, we're going to detach this so that we can customize it the way we want. So we're going to align this to the left, then change this to fit with our margin, then align this to the right, then fit in with our margin, then remove the fill because we don't need it. And lastly, we're going to change the width to the frame size to fit the frame. That's 375. Then we're going to push it to the top and center it properly. Let's bring in our home indicator. So let's change this to the width of our frame, then drag it inside the frame, then center it properly and push it downwards. So the next thing we're going to do now is to bring in our text. So the first text will be skip. Wait, let's go back to our file panel so we can see our layouts. So this will be 16 and we're going to leave it at medium. Let's zoom in and align properly with our margin. So now the next thing is to bring in our indicators, the page indicators. So this will be 24 by 8. Then we give it the round corner. Then hold Alt and drag to duplicate. Then select both of them and add Auto Layout to it. Then press Ctrl D or Command D to duplicate. Then we're going to change the first one to our primary color to show that this page is currently active. So let's change this to indicators. Or no, page indicators. Yep. Yeah, so we're going to push this to the end of the page and align it to our margin, then hold the text and the skip button and this together and add auto layout to it. So we are going to name this skip and indicators. So we'll make sure that it's aligned properly. So now the next thing, we're going to bring in the frame that is going to host our image for this onboarding. So the height is going to be 480. So now let's bring in our image. That's the image we're going to be using. For this, we're going to be using the Unsplash plugin. So now let's search for home interior. Let's quickly search for a good image. Let's use this. So now let's add rounded corners. Now let's make it 16. I think 16 is okay. So let's change this to image. Now I want to apply an effect to make it look like this image is fading into the background. So to do that, we're going to bring in a rectangle, add a rectangle inside the frame, this image frame. Then center it properly. Or let's just put it, then push it downwards. Then center it properly. Then change the color to white because our background is white. But let's turn off our layout grid so you can follow along. So now we select the rectangle, and the next thing we are going to do now is to change this view. Once you click on here, then we'll go over to the gradient panel. Then we carry this down here and push this up here. Then change this to white. Then the opacity to 0. Let's stretch this a bit. And let's do the settings again. Let's move this up a bit. Alright, I think this looks okay. This looks good the way it is. So the next thing, we're going to bring in the caption for this. So for this, we are going to, the right up says luxury stays. Then in the next line, we have just one click away. So now we're going to change this to 24 and make it bold. And then change the line height to auto to avoid the clustering and all that. So we are going to push this to the top. Yeah, I think it's okay here. Then we'll center it properly. And now we'll proceed to bring in our subtext. So our subtext says book now and experience luxury like never before. So now we're going to change this to 14 and make it regular. Then reduce it and center it properly. Then the distance between these should be like 12. Then hold this and hold this and apply auto layout to them. Then change it to header and subtext. So now we center it properly. Then we're going to change the color of this to our gray fill. So the gray text, then this is going to be our text color. So let's also change this to our text color. Alright, so the next thing is we are going to head over to this panel to get our frame. Then let's change this to our primary color. And then add our text. Get started. Then change this to semi-bold. Then apply auto layout to it. And then edit it manually. Then we're going to change this to 335 and center it. Then give it a round edge. Yeah, so the distance between this and this, let's give it like 40. Alright. So let's name this to our CTA. So now let's quickly organize this file. We're going to select this and group it. Then name it image and text. So the status bar is going to be at the top, comes first. Then our skip button and indicator comes second. Then the image at test comes next. Then we have our CTA button, then the home indicator. So we have come to the end of this. We have finally completed our onboarding screen. So the next thing, we are going to duplicate this file to now work on the explore page. So now let's quickly rename this to explore. Then we delete everything that we don't need. We don't need all this. I guess I didn't select it properly. Yep. Let me hit delete again. All right, so now the first thing we're going to bring in a container for our image. We're going to change this to, let's first of all lock this and change to 40. Let's turn on our layout grid so that we don't miss anything. Then let's give it 20. Yeah. So after we must have done that, so the next thing is to bring in our text. The first thing is the hello David with the comma. So that's like 12. The text size is 12. And we're going to change this to regular. Then we'll hold Alt and drag to duplicate. Then we have welcome back. We're going to give it like size of 14 and give it medium. So we're going to hold both of them and apply auto layout to it. Then go over to the hello David text and align to the right. Let's quickly change this color, the color to our greatest color. And the welcome back, we're going to change it to our text color. So let's quickly mesh them together. Select this and then apply auto layout. So the distance between both of them should be like 12. Let's still following our stuff. Let's quickly name them user, image, and text. So let's just name it to greetings. So we're going to center this correctly. So now let's zoom in. And then the next thing, we're going to bring in a frame that will hold our icons. And then now let's give it like, change it to a circle. So for this, we're going to add strokes to it. So that's where our outline color comes in. So it's going to also be 40. That's one. So we need like 2 because we're going to put the map icon in one and the notification icon in the second one. So we're going to select both and add auto layout to it and give it like a spacing of 12. So let's push it down. Yep. And hold this and then add auto layout to it and center it properly and add auto to this. Yeah. So now let's quickly use Unsplash to add the profile image to this. So we're going to search for avatar. So let's use this image and then close it. And then now let's use huge icon to bring in the icons for our map and our notification. So for this, we're going to be using the plugin called huge icons. So now let's hold over to the free tab and then search map. And let's make use of this. Then center it properly. And then change the color here to our text color. So don't forget, always select the frame in which you want to add the icons to so that it just enters directly when you select an icon. So the next is our notification. Alright, so we position it very well and change the color to our text color. All right. Let's quickly rename all this. It's good to always rename your layout. So map, and this is for notifications. So we're going to call these icons. And icons. All right. So the next phase now, we're going to work on our search, the search area where users can search by location or wherever way they want to. So we're going to use strokes here. We're not going to add any fill to it. So we're going to use our outline and give it like round corners. So since we already have this text, we'll just copy this text by hitting Ctrl C or Command C if you're using a Mac. Then select this and paste. So now we're just going to change the location. Since it's already on auto layout, once I hit the down arrow key on my keyboard, it just moves it downward. Then we change this to his location. Then we add a text that says search by location. All right, so we're just going to use this and change this to hog. Okay, all right, I think that's okay. So let's reduce this text. Okay, I think this is okay. This is 12, and let's change this also to 12. All right, so this is 12 regular and 12 medium. I think it's too far away, so let's change this to auto. Then let's also change this to auto. That's the line height. And then altogether, I'll just give them like a line out of like 4, which is okay now. So we center it properly. Then later, we're going to bring in our search frame here. So our search icon there. So the next thing we are going to do is to copy one of this and paste it inside here. Then we'll push it down to the end, center it properly. And the distance is going to be like 8 because we want to use 8 all around that. Don't worry, we'll fix the whole layout with auto layout later on. So for this, we are going to remove the strokes. We no longer need strokes, so we are just going to use our primary color for this. Then change this icon to white. So let's change this to 20. I believe it's too big. So now let's quickly bring in our icon. So let's go back to huge icons. So search. We're looking for the search icon. Let's select this frame because we don't want it entering inside that other frame. So now that we have this, we'll just have to center it properly. And change the distance to like 16, double of the other side. Then we can now click on here to change this to filter instead. Alright, so we have the filter here. Yeah. So now let's apply auto layout to it so we fix all the alignment issue and all. So let's change it to 335. And then center it. Then change this to auto. So, but before that, we're just going to add auto layout to the search icon and the location, this thing, and give it to like 12. Yes. I think this is okay. Icon and text. So search frame. So let's change this map to filter. Alright, so now we're going to fix this Let's close this first and add 8 all rounder. Then change this to 16. So it is balanced. So it looks balanced over here. So now after doing that, we check if the distance between this is correct. Then I think we are good to go. So we have fixed that. Let's close this and see what we have done so far. All right, so now the next thing we are going to bring in our quick links. So for that, we're going to draw a frame, then add text inside. So this one will be called best offer. Let's add our primary color to this. And let's add auto layout. So this should be, let's just give it like 8 and 16. Yeah, so we'll give it like corner radius of 100, so it will be round. And then change the black text, the black color to white. And let's change this text color, this text to semi-bold. I think semi-bold, it looks okay. So now we check to make sure it's 20 and see if it's going well with our margin. So now we hold Alt to duplicate. So here we are going to be breaking the grid. So let's quickly turn off our grid because we don't need it here. So now for this, we are going to remove the fill. We are going to use strokes instead. So don't forget, we already have a color for our outlines. Then change the color to our text color. Yeah. So this should be best top rates. Then let's select this and this and apply auto layout to it. I think 12 should be okay. 12. So now since we have done that, we just have to duplicate this. Let's change to nearby. Then duplicate and change this to popular. Alright, now so we'll just align it with our frame. So before we move forward, let's quickly add a frame to the search and the user welcome profile picture and all. So let's add auto layout to this, then give it a height of 20 to be 20. I think this looks okay. Yeah. Yep. Alright, so I think we are good to go on this. So the next thing now is to bring in our photo, that's the product card. Let's turn on our layout grid. Then make sure it's like 20 above. Let's change this to 335 and center it properly. Alright, so now let's quickly add a product image using Unsplash. Let's call it bedroom interior. So let's use this image. And so let's make it perfect by making it a square, then adding a corner radius of 16. Alright, so then we're going to copy one of this and paste inside of this. So we're going to use like 20, 20. And for this, we're going to change the color of this to white. And then we're going to change it to like gray. This is our gray text. So this is going to be for when the user wants to add, probably he likes this property and wants to make it his favorite or add it to his wish list or something. So let's change it to heart. All right, so now that we are done with that, we just need to add like a few indicators below. So let's just make it like, should be 12 or something. I think 12 is too much. Let's use 8. So let's zoom in to see what we are doing. So we are just going to hold Alt and duplicate, then hold both of them, add auto layout to it, and then duplicate. Then change this to our primary color to indicate that this is the active image. So we're going to push it inside this, center it properly, and make it like 12. So we change this to indicators, and this will be like products image. So this will be wish list when user want to add to wish list. So now that we are done with that, I'll just let's just turn off our layout grid for now. And then proceed. So the title of the property, which is like 3 bedroom apartment. So this should be like 16. Then we're going to put in the address of the property. So we're going to change this to 12 and regular. And then let's just give it like a distance of 4. I think 4 is okay. Then add auto layout to it. It should be 14 semi-bold. Yep. So now we're going to reduce this. Then give it a left alignment. And then we're going to change the color to our gray text. So I think this is okay. So the next thing is the property price. Which is going to be 16 bold. Then select and add auto layout. Let's resize it to 335. So let's enter it properly. I think it's following our margin now. So it's on auto and everything. So the next thing now, we're going to bring in like the features of this property. So since we already created something like this, we're just going to bring one of this. Let's copy one of this. And let's just put a random and right click, then paste to replace. All right, now that we have this should be like 16 from up here. So now, we're going to rename this. Let's say this property has like 2 beds. And then we're going to change this to 12. I think it's okay as 12. Then we're changing it to medium. All right. Then this should be test color. Okay, it's on test color. All right. So now we'll just duplicate it. Then hold both of them and add auto layout and duplicate. So now this is going to be for 1 bath. Then this is going to be for the property can have just 2 guests. So we're going to say the distance between them should be like 12, and we're going to change the width to like 335, and then give them, well, let's give them an auto distance, and then change all of them. So after clicking them, then you just change it to fill here. All right. So after changing to fill, let's leave it at 16 now. Yeah. So now let's quickly add icons to these buttons. So for this, we're going to look for a bed icon. So we're going to use this. So let's quickly change this to, let's change the size to 16 and push it forward. And then let me copy and paste in the other two. Alright, so move it forward. So for this, we're going to change this to a bat. So, and for this, we're going to change it to users. Alright, so don't forget we have like a background color for our features. So we'll just select them and then remove the outline. So once we remove the outline, just go over to our color styles and change this to features button. So, and then we'll select this, and select this and apply auto layout to it. Yep. All right. So now the next thing we're going to work on now is our navigation bar. So our bottom navigation. So for that, we're just going to create like a frame, name it to nav bar. And then we're going to remove this we're going to cut it out by Control X or Command X. Then select this and paste. Then push it downwards. Then change this. So now we're going to bring out the frame that holds the links. And let's call this nav link. So let's make the height 48 and leave this at 53 or something. So now let's bring in our text. So this one says explore, center, push to the end, and then let's bring in an icon. So we're going to bring in like a search icon. So we're going to click on the search icon. And let's just change it to like, let's make it like 20 and then center it properly. And let's leave it like this. And now we no longer need the fill, so we're just going to turn off the fill and push it in. And then we're going to bring this to the top. Let's push it to the top. And then duplicate. So we're going to add auto layout so we can duplicate faster. So we need like 5. So this is 3, 4, and 5. Alright. So let's give it like distance of 12. Alright, now so we can just quickly edit what we're going to have. So for this, we're going to have like the wish list page. And this we're going to have trips. And this we're going to have inbox. And finally, this would be our profile. So we'll just quickly change the icons. Let's go over to huge icons. let's search the heart icon. And let's center it properly. Next, we're going to, for the trip, let's search trip and see what that brings out. Let's search flights. Let's use the form of like aeroplane landing or probably taking off. I think I like this. And for the inbox, we're just going to use like a chart icon. Let's use this. Let's just use this. And then finally for the profile, for the user profile, we're just going to use like a user icon. All right. Now, so we'll just quickly, let's add an auto layout to this. Let's add auto layout to the whole frame. And then add like top padding of like 12. Then the padding between them should be like 8. That looks okay. And let's stretch this. Let it fill. And let's give it like auto. And then for this, so let's just give this a padding of like 20. Yeah. All right. So we can now push it inside our work environment. Then center it properly, push downward. So now that we have it, so it's looking a bit faded into the background. So we're just going to add like a little shadow. We're just going to add like a little shadow to make it pop. So let's go over to Effect Panel and go over to the Drop Shadow settings. Let's do -8 and let's just make it 12 or something, and make it like the blur should just be like 16. Okay, I think this is good to go. So now lastly, what we're just going to do, we're going to change this to, let's look for a better view to show that they are all inactive. Let's use gray, and let's use gray text here. And then we're just going to change this to our primary color. Okay, there's something I noticed. Let's quickly add auto layout to this. And then let's give it like the sizing within them. Let me select this nav link. Let me select it and give it like a height of like 8. Or yeah. So the distance, it looks too far off, the distance between the icon and the text. So let me manually edit that. So that's one good thing about using auto layout. You can easily edit whatever thing you want to edit easily. Yeah. No, let's just remove the distance between this and let's just put it to 0. Yeah, it looks okay like this. Now we are done with both our onboarding and the explore page. So finally, we are going to head over to design the apartment details. So now let's delete everything that we don't need. Now the first thing we're going to do is to bring in a frame. So the height of our frame is going to be, let's just use like 200. And let's push it to the top. Let's delete the status bar. So now let's add an image so that we can see what we are doing. Let's go over to Unsplash. So now let's search for bedroom interior. Let's use this. All right, let's rename this to details. So now let's select this and change the height to 280. Yeah. So there's this thing I like doing, especially to add overlay and to make it look like kind of like a video. So I'll just add an overlay and make it like 40. Yeah. Then don't forget we're going to add like corner radius, but we're not adding corner radius to the top this time. We're just going to add corner radius to the bottom, and we're going to use like 16 and 16. So now the next thing we are going to do is to bring in so let's copy the status bar from here and select this frame and paste it. So yeah, so the only thing we're going to do is just to change the color. And then let's bring in these two icons. We're going to use them as our back button and the share button, in case the user wants to share or go back. So this 20, and then let's change the size of this. This is another sweet thing about auto layout. Then I'll just change this to auto. Yeah, and we have done it. So now we're going to edit them individually. So I'm just going to remove the strokes and change it to fill. And let's just make the opacity to 80. 80 looks okay. Now the only thing we'll just have to do is just to change the icons. But before we change the icon, we need one more. Then we'll just paste one more. That's for the play button. For this, we're just going to center this properly. And let's change this to 60 and center it properly. Yeah. And so let's change this to our primary color. And then this text color to white. So now let's bring in our indicators. And select this frame and paste it. Then push it downwards. Center it properly. It must be 12 from the bottom. Yeah, so let's name this to property image. So now let's head over to huge icon to edit these icons. So now let's search for play, the play button. So let's select that. Now the next thing, we're going to change this map icon to the back button. So let's just use this plain icon. So next, we're going to change this to share. All right, now, so this is the share button. We're just going to click on share button. All right, so after we've changed that, I think we are done with this. So we are just going to move forward now. So since we already have like a similar details below here, we're just going to bring it in. And this, we're just going to select it and then select the details page and paste. All right, now, so let's add auto layout to it and change this to 16, then center it properly. So let's add an icon to this place so we can easily change it with huge icon. So we'll just swap the icon. So we're supposed to have like an icon here for them to be able to save the property. So let's search for save. So we're just going to select this icon. All right, so we are done with that. So the next thing now, we're just going to put in the property price and all. We're just going to draw like a frame, then give it our feature button color with round edges, then select one of this and paste it with Ctrl V inside this, then change the fill color to white, then center it very well, and then I think for this also we're going to use 8. Don't worry, we'll fix it with auto layout and all that. So we're going to change this to estimated payment, and then we're going to duplicate. Don't worry, we'll fix this with auto layout also. So okay, you can't see what I'm doing, so let me just change this to hog content. Yeah, so now I can now select it to $600 per month. So we're going to change this to our gray text color. Exactly. So now one more thing, now we're going to bring in this our property price. We're going to copy it and select here and paste. So now we are going to push it to the left, center it properly, then select them both. Or we don't need to select them both, we just have to just apply auto layout to the whole thing. Then let's give it like 8 and 8 top. So this is the padding we're going to be using. Or let's change it to 12. Oh, that's too much, 12. So 12 is okay. And let's make this 12. And let's change this to 335. Well, I think 12 is kind of like, let's change it to 8. I think I know what we are going to do. Let's change it to 8. Then this side, let's double the padding size here. So it's balanced. So it becomes balanced. So we are just going to change this to 16. Then for this, we're just going to change the padding, the top and bottom to 12. Yeah, I think this looks okay. Yeah, this is what I was trying to achieve. So now let's click on this and let's change it to 16 and center it properly. All right. Well, let's change it to 20 instead. I think 20 works. All right. So one more thing, let's change this to info, to the info icon. Let's go back to huge icons. So now we can close this and continue. So the next thing, we are going to bring in our text for the basic information. Basic info. So we're going to change this to 14 and make it semi-bold. And let's make it 24. Alright, so next we are going to bring in draw a text. So we're going to use Lorem Ipsum in order not to make this video longer than what it is. I'm just going to type in random text, then align to the left. And let's quickly change this to 12 and change it to like regular and change the color to our gray text. And then I'll just go to the plugin Lorem Ipsum. So we're going to use Lorem Ipsum for this. Alright, so the next thing, before we generate, we'll just select everything and generate. Alright, so I finished generating. I'll just push this up a bit. So this is okay. Then I select this and apply auto layout to it. And it's 335, and I think we are good to go. So let's make this 12. Alright, so we are good to go. So the next thing now is the contact information of the property owner. So we're just going to duplicate this. We're just going to use this. Let's copy this and just draw a random shape so that we can paste to replace. Yeah, so Now what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to add padding and add outline to it. So we're just going to add like a stroke. So the stroke is going to have like corner radius. So that's one good thing about auto layout. Like I just like auto layout because of this simple thing that you can easily just edit things without having to do much. So you see, we've gotten this already. So this is kind of like good. So let's change the icons to 44. Let's use the scale 44. And let's also use scale to change this to 44. So it looks balanced. Alright, so we are just going to quickly change the icons. Let me change this to the chart icon. So let's use this. And let's change it to let's change this to 20. Yeah, 20 looks okay. And then let's change this to the right navigation button. So let's change it in case they want to see more of the user profile. Alright, don't forget, cancel and change this to 20 also. Alright, so now we're just going to change this to the property owner's name. So in this case, which is Chris John, and his location, I'm going to put like Los Angeles. Alright, so we are good to go on this now. Let's check if everything is intact. So last thing that we're going to do, we're going to bring in our button. So since we already have a button here, we're just going to copy this and this. We're just going to copy them and then come over here. Let's do a random shift. I like to paste to replace most of the time. So I'm going to center this properly and center this properly. So, but this is book now, not get started. So let's change this to book now. So I guess we are done with everything. Let's see if there's anything we have not done yet. All right, let's quickly cross check and make sure everything is intact. All right, so we have finished doing everything. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much. I appreciate. Thank you for being here. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to continue to get premium resources and Figma tips and tricks like this for free. And so I'll see you in my next video. Peace out.